how did you get involved with the Cove?
I work for Earth Island Institute, and we have been going to the Cove for some years before the filmmakers contacted us. And we made our own film called Welcome to Taiji, and it's very graphic. It's not for public consumption, it's for the media. And one day I got a call from Louis Sahoyas, who identified himself as a filmmaker. He had seen our video, and he said, "Can I follow you around with my camera?" I said, "Sure, that's why we made it." I said, "Well, I'm leaving tomorrow, though, for the Cove." He said, "Well, I'll meet you there." And he hung up the phone and went out and took a 3-day crash course on how to make a movie. I mean, it's a great story. He never made a film before. And here the guy won the Academy, not only won the Academy Award, he won, it was entered into the Guinness World Book of Records for winning more awards than any documentary in history.
The filming of the Cove looks like a spy operation. Was it very difficult to film?
Oh, it was extremely difficult, yeah, because there's so much opposition, you know, and we didn't really know what we were doing. We were trying to do something. We were trying to expose what goes on there. And there are police, there are barbed wire, there are dogs, attack dogs, there are guys walking around those mountains with spears. And so when you see the covert mission of going in and planting the cameras, it looks like that happened in one night, but actually it was more like 14 nights. Because once you go in and plant the cameras, you have to go back the next day and remove them. Because once you plant them there, you turn the camera on and it's recording, but it doesn't see anything because it's dark. When the sun comes up, you just hope that the fishermen will stand in the right spot right in front of the camera. And so there was a lot of luck involved. And we got lucky.
What is the purpose of the film?
The film is very complicated. You know, it's not about one thing. It's about mercury contamination, which this is not a Japanese problem. This is a worldwide problem. The oceans have become toxic. What happens is coal, you know, every time we turn the lights on, we're getting this energy from someplace. But the way it works is we're burning coal in order to generate the electricity. And the coal is sending up pollution into the air, and gravity brings it back down into the oceans. It enters the food chain. And of course the dolphins are at the top of the food chain, so they're eating all of this contaminated fish. It started out to be a movie about mercury poisoning. It was actually called Mercury Rising. And later they changed it because of the footage that was obtained in the Cove. It became what it is today. But it's about the oceans, it's about mercury contamination, it's about our relationship with the sea. And so the Cove is really a microcosm of our relationship with the planet.
But the focus seems to be on dolphin hunting method.
One of the things about that movie that I like the most, it's about the dolphin captivity issue. That's the thing because that's the issue I've been working on for the last 40 years. And I think it's a very effective tool in educating the public about the dolphin captivity issue. It has created legions of activists all over the world, that film. And people now, because of that movie, think twice before they buy a ticket for a dolphin show. And that's really the solution. The solution to the problem is don't buy a ticket. It's based on supply and demand like any other product, Coca-Cola or whatever. You know, if I'm wearing ivory, I am the reason the elephant is having a problem.
According to what you observed in Taiji, what does dolphin hunting actually mean to the fishermen there?
Well, first of all,
is it just for money, for a living?
First of all, I want you to understand, I like Japan a lot, and Taiji in particular is a wonderful place, and there are 3,444 people that live in Taiji. Most of those fishermen in Taiji don't hunt dolphins. So when you say the fishermen there, I just want to make it clear, most of the fishermen don't. It's a very small minority of fishermen, a particular union. Specifically, there are 13 boats. There are 2 men in each boat. That's 26 guys. Plus there's about 25 more. I think there's a total of 48 who kill dolphins in Taiji. So it's not the whole population. And that's one of the reasons that Earth Island Institute doesn't support the boycott. There's a boycott of Japan. Boycott Japan, save the dolphins. Boycott Japan, save the whales. And we don't support that because it's a blanket indictment against all Japanese people. Only 1% of the Japanese people eat whale meat. So it's a form of racism. And we just want to make that clear, that we're talking about a very small minority of fishermen in Taiji who kill the dolphins. Well, they told me that, I've met with them several times, that it's pest control. In other words, overfishing is the problem. They're overfishing in Japan. And this is a way of killing the competition. Each one of those dolphins will eat about, 25, 30 pounds of fish a day. Some of the larger pilot whales, for example, false killer whales will eat 50, 75 pounds of small fish every day. And so they're killing the competition. That's a big part of it. Very, very few people in Japan eat dolphin meat. And we now know that the dolphin meat is contaminated with mercury. So that word is getting out, and less people are consuming dolphin meat. So they're killing them because the dolphin are eating too much fish. They're overfishing and they're blaming the dolphin.
So what, they capture the dolphins, or they just kill all the dolphins?
Well, they drive them into the cove. They go out in the morning. The 13 boats can go out in the morning, and they wait until the migratory dolphins are coming by, and they get on the outside of them. And they put a long pole in the water, and they bang on it with a hammer, creating a wall of sound. And dolphins, again, their primary sense is sound, and so they're frightened by this. They're terrorized by it. And they drive them, they literally drive them in, and that's where it gets its name, the drive fisheries. They drive them into the cove, they seal it, and then the dolphin trainers show up. And they select the very best for themselves for the dolphin shows. Those dolphins are sold for as much as $154,000 each. The dead dolphins are sold for about $500 or $600. It is the captures that is the economic underpinning of the slaughter. That's what keeps this slaughter going. And it's the dolphinariums, the demand for dolphins for these shows. And so our message is, don't buy a ticket for a dolphin show, because you're supporting. The dolphins are dying to amuse you, the consumer.
Some people say this film is anti-Japanese. Why not film in other countries that practice dolphin hunting as well? Why Japan?
Well, that's where the largest slaughter of dolphins on planet Earth takes place. That opens it up to be filmed, to be documented. It was more about, when you see the film, about the largest slaughter of dolphins on the planet, not about dolphins all over the world. It was very specifically about this cove where the largest slaughter takes place. Anti-Japanese? No, it is not in any way, shape, or form. And when you see it, you will agree it's not anti-Japanese, and we are not anti-Japanese.
What would you say to people who think that dolphin hunting is just part of Japanese culture? They've been doing this for years, hundreds of years.
Well, it's not true. They have not been doing it for hundreds of years. They've actually been doing it since 1933. That's not cultural. That's not traditional.
Do people, especially Japanese, still eat dolphins these days?
1%, about 1% of Japanese people eat whale meat. A very, very small minority of that 1% have ever even heard of eating dolphin meat. So Japanese people don't really eat dolphin meat. In some few remote villages, they do. like Taiji and Wakayama, although they've stopped now that they're learning because of the movie that the dolphin meat is heavily contaminated with PCBs, methyl mercury, and mercury. And there is no safe level of mercury.